the smidgest close. Thank you. That's perfect. Thank you.
She said do not move.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. That's perfect. I can do that.
11:30, quiet on set.
From the next generation of filmmakers to historic art in a modern world.
And an exclusive interview with USC film students on the realities of internships in the entertainment industry.
All that and more on tonight's episode of Trojan Vision's one and only entertainment news show, The Scoop. Wait a minute, you're not Ambi.
That's not me.
Am I on the right show today? Thanks for tuning in for The Scoop. I'm Jonathan Pelster. You may notice our usual host, Ambi, isn't here today. Ambi will unfortunately be gone for a couple weeks, but in her place is the incomparable Alyssa Heyer.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm Alyssa Heyer, and it's great to be here. The Scoop is Trojan Vision's premier and only entertainment news show. We want to focus on uplifting the voices of young artists everywhere and spotlight exactly what the next generation of artistic talent is going to look like.
With that in mind, let's check in at the Los Angeles API Film Festival. With culture more than ever looking to uplift underrepresented artists, voices for Asian Pacific Islander, Desi American rights and representation is on the rise.
When talking about the need for increased representation, where better to look than the filmmaking industry here in Hollywood, Los Angeles?
From September 23rd to October 2nd, Visual Communication held its 37th Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival here in downtown LA. Visual Communication is a corporation that aims to support Asian American and Pacific Islander filmmakers and artists that seeks to empower the community and challenge for representation.
The festival includes multiple films and documentaries that support the representation of API cultures in America. The festival also screens compilations of short films from local artists and filmmakers.
The event offers free screenings and exclusive events that highlight films or shorts with a Q&A panel session at the end.
This is not only a great opportunity for rising filmmakers to shine and voice their passion, it is also a chance for younger artists to meet those filmmakers and gain valuable experience.
Take, for example, the festival opener, Manzanar Divergent, When Water Becomes Dust, about the indigenous experience, or Americanish, the first American Muslim rom-com directed by an American Muslim female filmmaker.
The event can be summed up by a quote from the filmmaker behind Oh My Dating Hell, who said, quote, "I wanted to personally thank Visual Communications for the opportunity to showcase my project, but in particular, the kind, generous, and welcoming efforts and all the attention to detail you provided the filmmakers to make this festival as special and safe as possible. Given the constraints of the pandemic, I had a wonderful time."
You know, I saw one of those short films. It was a stop-motion short film that had it followed professions, and it was to the tune of hip-hop.
Really? That's so interesting.
I did not expect all of those things to be combined together into one film, but it was really cool.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How about you? Did you watch any of it?
I watched a few. I think I might have seen that one, and it was very interesting.
Yeah, something Champion. I remember it was Christopher Chan who said it.
Yeah, definitely. On the topic of inspiring artists close to home, let's take a look at Los Angeles-based new media artist Autumn Lepla.
Autumn Lepla is a mixed media portrait artist out of LA's who's determined to revolutionize art with her augmented reality creations. After losing her 3 jobs due to COVID, she began investing more time in her paintings. Portraiture allows her to humanize her thoughts and emotions, focusing on the eyes as a lens into her soul.
Called dumb as a child and facing immense struggles later in life, Autumn always found it difficult to find her voice and wished she could communicate with others telepathically instead. She thinks in pictures instead of words, so her art provided an outlet to express herself through images and gestures.
Painting is a therapeutic process that allows her to work through her trauma and turn it into something beautiful. Her work is characterized by a brightly colored portrait with lines over top of the image to convey a subliminal message that incorporates a socio-political view of hers.
As a child, her grandmother took her to Winnebago tribe gatherings and ceremonies, instilling the values and history of her ancestors. Personal experiences, her spirituality, and current and past socio-political events serve as the main inspiration for her art. Her most recent work depicts a Native American with a Trump hat on that says "Make America Native Again" to highlight the problematic history behind Trump's slogan and raise awareness for marginalized Indigenous people. But what makes Autumn's work uniquely special is that each of her paintings has the option to add on a special augmented reality effect that animates the picture through an app on your phone.
When looking at her portraits, one day she imagined how the person would move, and this inspired her augmented reality creations. She wanted to find a way to fully immerse her audience in her paintings, and augmented reality offered that additional layer of engagement. She admits that while each of her paintings has a specific meaning to her, she encourages others to come to their own understanding of her pieces in order to relate to her work.
With her new collection complete, she's had to navigate the business side of her brand more recently with press, photographers, legal matters, sales, and social media promotion, including on TikTok. With her studio in LA, she's showcased her art in various galleries around the area. But be sure to check out her website, autumnlepa.com, for more of her work or to purchase any of her paintings.
I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. The only time I've ever seen augmented realities is with video games like Pokemon Go, the Harry Potter games, so it was really cool to see an artist use that technology.
Celebrating artists in the present is just as important as celebrating the future generation. Much more prevalent prior to the COVID-19 crisis, TheScoop has historically been on the red carpet for a variety of LA film festivals. On this installment of Monday Memories, let's take you back in Scoop history to before the pandemic. Past field host Max Geschwin takes you to the USC Scripter Awards, where an elite panel of industry insiders lend recognition to some of the year's best screenwriting. Take it away, Max.
Hey everyone, this is Max Geschwind with TheScoop, and we're here at the USC Scripter Awards, where we're going to speak with some screenwriters nominated tonight in film and television. Stay tuned. Tell me about what that process was like working with Joe on Black Panther.
You know, he's an incredibly talented writer. I actually met him before even the film. He was part of our Marvel Studios Writers Program, and we became friends, and I'm just a fan of his work. And when there was an opportunity on Black Panther to bring in a writer, Joe was the first call I made. And I think he and Ryan Coogler really found a really good energy and a really good partnership. And the movie's special because of it.
When my agents approached me and they said, "Oh, you know, Barry, would you mind considering putting yourself on tape for this?" I'm like, "Considering for Barry Jenkins, I'll do it."
Yeah.
And so, and then I got a call within about 24 hours. Actually, I auditioned for the role of Frank, which is played lovingly by Michael Beach, but I got offered Joseph, the father, and I thought that was an incredible gift.
Do you have any projects right now that you're working on that are in development?
I do. I'm adapting a French crime novel for Amazon Studios. And then, of course, I've got what we in the household refer to as irons in the freezer, all those other little projects I'm pushing forward. And I've got a novel coming out in June, and I'm in negotiations to adapt my own novel.
The book, The Looming Tower by Lawrence Wright, was one of my favorite books and had been one of my father's favorite books, and I read it to him several times even when he was dying. And so when they got the show going, Danny knew that I would be an asset just because I knew the book inside and out.
And you're here because Leave No Trace is nominated for Adapted Screenplay. Tell me how that feels for one of your films to be nominated here at this show specifically.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, it's really a special thing because it's about adaptation, which is not what the ordinary events are. And I think that's such a special alchemy that happens between a novel and a screenplay.
It's a huge honor to be able to explore the world that Margaret Atwood created, The Handmaid's Tale, is an incredible privilege. She's kind of our guiding star through everything we do, and even though a lot of the book has already been shown on screen, we constantly go back to the book for inspiration. Some of the voiceover this episode that we're nominated for tonight is directly from the book. So we try really hard to be responsible to the world that she's created and what we do on screen.
And that's a wrap here at the USC Scripter Awards. Thanks for watching.
Wow, it's so fascinating to look back and see what was popular just a few years ago.
I agree. But what are the hot button issues of today, Alyssa? Poverty, debt, social class, murder. In addition to being buzzwords of the cultural conversation, they are all words that can be used to describe Netflix's new TV series and global phenomenon, Squid Game.
Released on September 17, 2021, Squid Game has already broken several records by being one of the most watched shows on Netflix within the first week and is set to become the most watched Netflix TV series in history in any language.
Now, why is this Korean horror show so popular, you might ask? Well, there are several poignant themes throughout the show, such as the discussion of social class, gender roles, displacement, meaning of life and death, capitalism, and success. The show itself is a grand metaphor for society and how people are willing to do anything to escape poverty and the unfairness of the system.
Non-English speaking shows rarely break the U.S. viewing charts. Squid Game's global appeal may have quite a bit to do with these resonant themes of oppression and financial inequality.
Not only does this show have a tremendous cultural impact and bring awareness to the stark wealth disparities in society, but it has also brought a global perspective by bringing Korean culture and media to the table. With Parasite's Best Picture win in 2020 and now Squid Game's chart-topping success, it is amazing to see a Korean show reach such mainstream success across the globe. The creator of Squid Game worked tirelessly for 10 years to get his pilot sold to studios, but no one would bite. To see an artist suffer in the same system he wants to criticize definitely has a rich layer of irony to it. I watched the first episode. It was all right.
I can't believe you haven't finished it yet. I finished it in a week. It's an insanely good show. Brilliant themes and symbolism and character development.
I'm sure. All right, everyone. We're about to go on break, but thank you for joining us here at The Scoop. Coming up after the break, how technology and entertainment can collide, a breakdown of all the hottest entertainment events on campus, and a panel discussion with USC students about the realities of life as an intern.
Don't go anywhere because you're watching The Scoop.
Public service announcement from the United States government. There may be goblins hiding in your house. If your home security isn't good enough, goblins could get into your house so they can find easy, accessible food. Do you really want goblin ectoplasm all over your beautiful home? What about the new sheets you just got? Better be careful. Studies have shown that if you have a goblin infestation in your house, you should round all of them up, put them in a pot, and bake them in the oven at 400 degrees.
You love Uber Eats, the #1 app for getting your favorite local and chain foods delivered right to your door. Uber Eats is proud to present Uber Feeds. We want to go all the way for our customers, which is why we will have Uber Feeds delivery drivers literally feed your meal to you. Safety is our #1 priority, which is why every driver is vaccinated. Better yet, download now and get a delivery and feeding absolutely free. Uber Feeds, stuffed in more ways than one.
Feeling overwhelmed by school? Homework assignments keep piling up? Crippled by existential despair? Caffeine not cutting it? Well, then I have a solution for you. Procrastination.
Wow, so how does it work?
Simply take your work and stop doing it. Play video games. Go on your phone. Endless possibilities.
Boy, howdy, do I feel relaxed. Thanks, procrastination.
Welcome back. From October 8th to November 28th, Taiwan Contemporary Culture Lab held its 2021 annual Future Media Arts Festival. This year's exhibition includes 24 artistic works created by 23 artists from Taiwan and abroad. In the Future Media Arts Festival, artists create works using technologies, exploring contemporary issues of culture such as misinformation, weaknesses of current social media, or Japanese colonialism in Taiwan.
These artistic works presented in the exhibition are presented in a variety of visual forms, from audiovisual media, theaters, installations, performances, lectures to seminars.
In the exhibition, The Glass Room Misinformation Edition, German NGO Tech explores the concept of misinformation in modern social media, exposing how fake news is spread online and is used as a tool of political propaganda.
Another work, Crystal Seeding, presented in the form of theater experience, is created by Taiwanese artists, their work using sugar as 3D printing material to create their sets and puppets with robotic arms, explores the prominence of the sugar industry in Taiwan during the Japanese colonial era and how vital it was to Taiwan's economic strength.
Initiated by the Taiwan Living Arts Foundation in 2018, the Taiwan Contemporary Culture Lab, or C-Lab, provides chances for rising artists, engineers, and contemporary thinkers to creatively express their voices regarding current issues around the world. Through these kinds of exhibitions, an image of how our future would look like is depicted by various creative minds, where a culturally diverse collection of viewpoints express their creativity via various emerging media forms.
From this kind of festival, where contemporary art meets technological innovations, exhibition goers are able to see the various kinds of innovative ideas arising among the technological industry, as well as enlightened by the creative speakers of the art industry.
Yeah, that sounds really cool to me.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
Let's move on to some news even closer to home.
Museum, or support your fellow Trojans. Let's start up by checking in on what's on USC's campus this week. Here are a few campus events going on this week. On Monday, November 1st, check out a screening of indie darling Mogul Mowgli at the Ray Stark Theater, followed by a Q&A with the filmmakers. On Wednesday, November 3rd, check out Jim Cummings, director of micro-budget South by Southwest winner Thunder Road, with his latest film, The Beta Test, followed by an in-person panel discussion on the state of Hollywood with Cummings and co-director PJ McCabe. Finally, in the coming weeks, check out the AFI Film Festival, which boasts 115 titles, 51% of which are directed by women, and 40% of which are directed by BIPOC filmmakers. But while those filmmakers are successful in producing their work, they almost certainly started as interns. Let's check in with Jonathan on the state of film industry internships.
I did not know I was interviewing you today.
I didn't know that I was going to be interviewed until about 3 minutes. Jonathan, I really don't know how to do this. I've never had to wear one of these.
Oh.
Here, let me help.
Yeah, Cassie definitely know more than me. So I guess we're just talking about stuff.
Yeah. Internship stuff.
Everyone needs to be off the set who doesn't need to be on.
Joining us tonight, we welcome two very special guests. Interns in the fields of development and production, these two USC students are paving the way to working in the entertainment industry. Graduating soon, we're lucky enough to sit down with these two students and pick their brains about careers, life, and art. Cassie, I did not know that I was interviewing you today.
Hi, how's it going? I didn't really know I was being interviewed until very recently.
Oh, awesome. We're both in the dark about this.
Yeah.
Cool. So both of you are doing internships right now. Awesome. Who would like to start?
I can go first. Well, so my internship actually is not one that I'm doing currently, but it's one that I did in the past, last year over COVID. I worked at Yellow House Entertainment, which is a development company based out of LA. And it was a Zoom internship, so not the ideal situation, but it was really fun. It's a very small company, and I was basically a script reader, development intern. So I would read a bunch of scripts every week, like everything from pilots, hour-long comedies, 30-minute dramas, like all of that stuff. And I would read a bunch a week, and I would get to pitch them to my boss, who is a producer. And it was really fun because I got a lot of experience with like that like elevator pitch kind of like thing where I would have like, basically he gave me a timer of like 2 minutes and he was like, pitch me this movie, whether or not I liked it. So I had to get a lot of experience with that, which has been super helpful now that I'm a senior and like getting ready to go into development. But yeah, no, it was great. And afterwards I would give notes on it, whether or not I liked it, whether or not I thought it was producible. And it was a really cool internship because we kind of like we had like a conversation instead of doing like the traditional method of like script coverage. It was a lot more personal, which I really liked.
Wow. And Cassie, how about yourself?
So this most recent summer, I worked at a dance company, and I was a video editor for them, and they would send B-roll of all of their dancers, and you'd have to cut it into either a instructional video, or they had like promos that would be more like cut to music and things like that, and they would give you work specific on what kind of editor they thought you were, and that was kind of your job. So I've done a lot of like post-production stuff, and then I work here as an editor as well at Viterbi. So
Nice. And you're also doing a lot of directing right now at USC. I always see the messages in the group me chat on that.
yes, I do quite a bit of just like my own stuff and working with actors. I mean, my primary focus is directing, but editing is, I feel like, a really good way to access directing because it's very much about telling a story and problem solving, and I feel like you have to do that a lot as a director, so I'd recommend that to anybody who's interested in going into production, that post-production is a great way for you to see, oh, what stuff doesn't work for an editor when they get into the room, and what cuts really well, how do I make the most full kind of engaging story.
Right. And how would you say that your internship informs your passion about directing?
Well, I think for one, working in post-production I think I've been working in post-production since I came here my freshman year, really made me realize that I didn't want to pursue that as a career,
right.
Which sounds like it would be like fruitless, and you're like, oh my God, what was all that for? But I found it was really worth it because I was like, oh, there's other stuff I want to do, and now I've kind of explored this avenue to the best of my ability, and it's over, and I had a great time. So that was really helpful. And then I think that in terms of it informing my directing, again, I feel like editing is like the second round of storytelling.
Right.
Not even, it's like the fourth round of storytelling, right? You have
Yeah.
the writing is the first round of storytelling, and then you get on set and the director is crafting it, and then the editor forms their version of the story, and then your sound people develop that. So it really is great because you are kind of learning how to tell a story backwards, and you're also figuring out like what works when you get into the cutting room. How do you make that the most effective? So I feel like that's how it's informed my directing.
And would you say that working at a smaller company kind of gave you more freedom? I've heard some stories about people who get internships at bigger companies and they end up grabbing coffee for everyone and that's their only job. Not sure how true that is.
Yeah, well, I got lucky. I didn't have to grab coffee for anybody because we were just looking at each other over a computer screen. But I think that starting at small companies is really beneficial because, like, I just felt like I got a lot of like one-on-one time with the producers, and like that's like my career goal. Like, Cassie wants to direct, I want to produce. And I think that having so much time with the producers in like such a small company was really beneficial because I did get to see all of the pre-process, and I got to like pick his brain about what he was doing at the time, since, you know, nothing was going on in terms of production. It was all development. So that's why we were working like super hard to try to get the company's lineup ready for when we were going to go back. So yeah, I feel like working at a small company was great, and, you know, just like forming those initial bonds that can help you build up your resume. Very helpful. And I'm still in touch with my boss. We actually like just had a Zoom meeting this past week and caught up, which was really nice. And yeah, it's been really great.
Yeah, and this might be the dumb actor part of me speaking, but what's the difference between producing and editing?
Yeah, so producing is you're kind of like in charge of a lot of stuff. It's hard to get into everything at the moment, but you're basically making sure that everyone's like on time, that you have all of the budgeting is most of the job of a producer, making sure that you're staying on budget. I'm actually producing a project right now, so I'm in a casting process currently. So I'm working with my director, and directors and producers kind of go hand in hand a lot of the time. And you're basically forming like the overall picture, making sure everything gets done. And then with editing, it's...
Yeah, editing is the tail end of the process. You get all the footage, you slice it up, you change everything, you cry and throw everything away because it's all terrible, and then you fix it and you make it good. And
absolutely. So it's like pre and post.
Right, right. And Cassie, I'm in an acting class with you right now, and I was wondering, taking acting classes and taking directing classes, does that help you as a director figure out how to direct an actor, and kind of vice versa, what the director would want?
Oh, for sure. I mean, acting was like the first thing I fell in love with. It's what made me want to be a director, because I love working with actors and talking to them and telling stories through that. And taking acting classes really informs my directing, because it makes me realize kind of the language of actors, and, you know, how to speak to an actor about what you want without, you know, line reading and things that aren't really palatable to an actor or don't give for a good performance. And then when I combine the editing aspect of it, it's realizing how important continuity of performance is. That's something that I had to learn the hard way as a director, and then getting into the editing room and realizing that my actor had done 20 different things 20 different times, and now I was going to have to cut it all together. So
hand movements don't match up.
Yeah, so it makes you a lot more conscious of continuity, but also being more specific with your actors and their movements, because if you're giving them something specific to do, then they're not going to be trying a bunch of new things because they don't know what you want.
Right. Are there any internships that either of you haven't done that you would like to?
Yeah, definitely. So if I had my, you know, ideal career in the future, I definitely want to do producing for television. I'm from New York City. I would love to go back and work for NBC, SNL. I would love to produce for them because I love live television, and I think that's why I'm here. I think that's like probably where my career would go if I had my ideal. So I know NBC has a bunch of internships in live and a bunch of internships in like development and all that stuff. So I would love to do one of those.
Yeah, I think I'm specifically interested in independent cinema and like smaller companies, so I'd love to do development for like a smaller company, or work a production internship at like Neon or A24, stuff like that would be really cool to me.
A24
Awesome.
the classic.
A24 the classic. Gotta
Sounds
go for
awesome to me. Unfortunately, we are out of time, so I have to go back to my prompter here. Well, Scoop fans, this episode has unfortunately come to an end, but we can't wait to see you next week. We will be right back here, same time, same place. So thanks again for watching, and this has been The Scoop on Trojan Vision. Bye!